Hello, Jerry again. This will be video 10. It is December 28th, 2023. I do want to make a correction on video 9. I misspelled cycles and hauling cycles on my title. My bad. I do know how to spell. This happens when you're multitasking and you're editing. Or not really editing, but uploading. I got to doing too many things at once and misspelled cycle. So have fun with it. Anyway, the reason I'm doing this video 10, I want to stick on the hauling aspect of things, figuring out your hauls. And as I'm sitting there, like I said in my last video, I'm recosting a riprap job, beach access. Engineer and I designed it with gabion baskets, a big riprap with a class 700. It depends what book you read, different weights, different classifications. But anyway, as I was thinking about this, I got thinking about a job I did, and I believe it was 2012. I was self-employed, not for very long. I've only been self-employed for about maybe a year or so. And my dad still had his excavation company. It was hard times then. That's right. That was in a recession. If anybody's old enough to remember, at the end of 2008, we had the housing crisis. I mean, things came to a stop. The company I was working for at the time, who actually merged with another company, they basically let go a lot of people, estimator, superintendents. I was fortunate to keep my job. I lost it for another reason later. Nothing to do with my work performance. Anyway, company truck thing. But anyway, so we were in that recession. My dad company that I used to run before I worked for the big company, he still had we still had two 200s, LCs, one John Deere, one Hitachi excavator, still had the 30,000 pounds, still had off-road dump truck, the rollers, both dozers, blah, 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 dump trucks. I didn't work for him. I already quit his company about 4 or 5 years earlier when I worked for the big company, but he didn't have any work, no employees. My partner I still have to this day, actually, Sean, we had been working together for not quite, well, we've known each other since I was 18, and we worked together on and off. When he got into business, he came, did a lot of work with my dad and I doing excavation jobs, subdivisions, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. Get back to what I'm talking about is there's a slide job came up in the Douglas County, out in the boonies. It was a big slide job, pretty exciting one. And if you've been doing this work long enough, you know what it's like to be bidding during a recession. One, there's a lot less work out there. And number two, everybody's bidding it as damn cheap as they can just to keep iron moving and keep employees with a paycheck. So it was ugly times. It was hard times. Anyway, so moving forward, and I've done slides. I got a background in them, big slides. One of the first big projects I got on when I was like 16, 17, when my dad worked for the company, was a big slide job in Elkton. So I like slides. They actually are a lot of fun. But I'd already been committed to pump stations, water, wastewater, sewer, treatment plants. I'd already been doing it since about 2010, middle 2010. I've done it before when I was younger, but that's all I was sticking with because it seemed to be a little bit more recession proof. You could find a little bit more work because not everybody's chasing those jobs and everybody likes running water at their house and likes to flush a toilet. So it seemed to be a little bit better. Well, my dad didn't have any work. It was hard times. Partner Sean didn't have much work, except for like 6 or 7 pump stations that I had a contract we were doing. We decided to bid this slide job. A lot of it was for my dad's company, for Sean's company, and I make money too. I'm the one bidding it and managing it. And at that time, I was back in the field. I bid jobs and was back out running them. There was about a 5 or 6 year chunk that I wasn't out in the job that much, and I worked for the big company. They'd call me out once in a while to go run stuff, or little pipe crew, excavation, shit like that. But basically, there's a 5 year chunk I was in the office. I was on the office a lot, bidding, managing. Well, after that recession hit, I was back out in the field a lot. I'd bid it and go run it. So we bid this slide job, and there was a rock pit, good rock too, in this small little hick town. The haul was maybe 25 minutes one way, and they had good rock that meets spec and all that for this slide. We had to build big buttress, and anyway, there's a lot. I can't remember how much rock it was. I know we had fun one time to calculate it out in pounds. It was like 10 or 11 million pounds, whatever that is in tons. I have to go back and look, but which I won't. Well, getting to hauling, here's how I landed the job, and here's how we made money on the job. There was a rock pit, not the one that's local there. There was one up about an hour one-way haul up in Eugene. And the owner of the rock pit, I'll leave people nameless on this, but he had already sold one of his companies. The company I worked for actually bought it at the time that I used to work for. And he had a quarry, and he had good rock. He had really good rock. I mean, his rock, it was hard. It was good rock, at least at that time. So I'm bidding this job in the wintertime. Now, something you estimators, this new ones should know is it depends where you live too. If you live in like Arizona or something or Texas, you don't have to deal with this as much. But if you up in the Northwest, if you're bidding a job in the wintertime, you're not probably going to be doing it till the summertime just because you got to let it dry out. I mean, they get heavy rains, dark clouds. It takes a while for things to dry out, especially slide jobs. You got a lot of water and hydraulics coming through there. So bid this job in the wintertime. And when you're talking with rock source people that have their own trucks, this guy ended up having his own trucks. He had a whole fleet of side dumps that I had never used before. I heard of them, but at that time in my life, I've never actually used a side dump. I've used tubs, end dumps. I've used truck and pups, belly dumps. My dad owned one. Truck and transfers, straight up solo dump. I mean, I had a variety of trucking, but I never had bid a job and used side dumps. Well, this slide job, literally half the road was gone, and it was steep. And this is a county road up in the boonies called Smith River. And it was just steep as shit. It really was. And when you got half the road gone and the rest is just a sheer bank, there isn't much room there. So I know when I was bidding the job, I was going to have to treat it like any other job, get it excavated out, get a haul road down to the buttress, get the buttress dug out, start stair-stepping the slopes, and get the fabric down, blah, 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 blah. And we had a haul site up the road about 3-4 miles that a landowner would let us dump all our spoils, which was quite a bit. And we had the flaggers on there. I actually had my mom, who wasn't really having a flag company anymore. She literally took a 2-week vacation to go flag on our job for a couple of weeks. So it was a big family thing. Dad was there. John was there. Hell, even my wife even took off a couple of weeks to go flag because it was high pay on that certain job there. So anyway, everybody was there. So even other contractors I brought in as like independents or employees, I brought them in too, great guys like Jason and stuff. So we had my dad's off-road dump truck there for all the excavation. We had another off-road truck. We had 2 excavators going, dozer, all the whole 9 yards. Well, to be able to haul a quantity of rock, and when you're hauling riprap, a lot of truck drivers don't want to haul that stuff because it's hard on the bed of their truck. It's hard. That's why you see a lot of dump trucks got like kind of a little bit of a tub shape in the inside, or you haul them in tubs. Getting a tub on this job would, I don't know where you would have put it. You would have had to, well, it's how my competition bid it. They would have had to haul it up the road, dump it, reload it in smaller trucks, and bring it back. And it just would have been a reloading nightmare. And you'd had an extra trucking involved because you had the trucks on site reloading. It would have been a nightmare. Well, I made a deal with this quarry guy. He really wanted to sell all the rock on this project. And I told him, I won't get the job. I go, your rock is over an hour haul. One way. That's not counting the dump, the load, and the second drive. It was going to be about a 3-hour round trip. The rock pit down the road was like a truck could cycle in 1 hour. Easy. Especially we had flaggers there to make sure we kept them rolling. Well, I made a deal with him that I would rent his trucks. They could come down loaded with his rock every morning and dump. And then I needed them to haul to the other rock pit that was dramatically closer. At the time, he was like, yeah. Now I'm going to stop right here. That was a deal made in the wintertime. I landed the job, and I was low bidder. I mean, I had some of my competition who I knew them call me up, one being Dustin, call me up and go, dude, are you really going to do this job for that price? I mean, I didn't second guess myself. I was like, yeah, we'll do it. We'll make money. Everybody thought I was crazy. I mean, everybody was waiting for me to back out. Like I said, I literally got 2 or 3 phone calls on this, asking me if I was backing out of the bid. I was like, nope. Well, I was the only one that bid it with side dumps. And I made a deal with the guy that owned the side dumps in a quarry up North Eugene. He'd come down loaded every morning with whatever we asked for. And then his trucks would haul out of the other pit that was way faster, third of the cycle time. And that nailed the job. I mean, we literally, after we had it ready to go, trucks would fly in, dump off the side, go up to the flagger, turn around, and haul ass back. I mean, it was picture perfect. Worked out great. And we made a little bit of money. Not great money, but we made a little bit of money in hard times. Well, here's one of the things that main reason inspires me to do this video. And I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus. So I'm leaving names out on this particular guy. When I made that deal with the Corey guy who owned the side pumps up north, I basically had a deal with him. When we went to start the job, and I don't remember, July, August, somewhere around there, when we got ready to start the job, he was backing his trucks out. I was like, what are you doing? He's like, well, unless I'm not selling all the rock, my trucks are too busy. It's summertime now. I'm like, yeah, but we made this deal last winter or spring, whatever. It was a commitment. I go, my whole bid revolves around your side dumps. My whole bid revolves around it. And it's not like in that area, everybody had side dumps. He was one of the front runners. Later on, we've seen other excavation companies end up getting side dumps, buying their own. Smart. But at that time, they weren't really that popular. He kind of broke the mold on that, at least in that region. And I bid the whole job around it. If I wouldn't have got his trucks, I would have been bent over. I mean, we would have lost our butt. I'm not even exaggerating. It would have been, my partner and I would have been writing a check out of our bank account. That's how dependent we were on these side dumps. Like I said, these were hard times. This was a rough patch for everybody in the United States at that time. So I finally talk him into, I'm like, hey, man, we made a deal. I revolved this whole thing around you and your trucks. I even got it to where I got the county to approve your rock to come down in the morning and be dumped in, when the rest of the day we're hauling the rock from another pit, two different rock sources. I go, you know all this. He came in person and talked to me on the job site. When we were all done, he understood where I was at on it. And he decided to stay committed to me. And luckily, or we would have lost a lot of money. So the reason I'm doing this second hauling video, which I'll do probably more in the future too, as I'm bidding and doing stuff as we speak right now, I have things pop up and I'll just do a quick video. But your hauling is very important. You might have a commitment in March in a rainy area or snowy area or bad weather area. You know, if you're in locations where it's always sunny, like I moved to Arizona, it's sunny here, sunny right now. I would bid construction. If I was working in this state, I would bid construction completely different than I would when I was back in the Northwest. But you really got to look at the commitment of when you bid the job, who you're committing with, get something on paper right away, whatever. Because if you bid your job like I did around these side dumps, which is the reason I left a lot of money on the table, was because I had a faster cycle time and we made money off the job. You know, get it in writing, find out who you're working with. Because I can tell you right now, the hauling on that job was everything for that job. It's the reason I got the job, and it's the reason we made money on the job, period. So anyway, hope that one helps. You get some weird ones like that. And I had a flashback a little bit ago, and I thought I would share it. Anyway, have a great day. Sorry for misspelling cycle. I was multitasking. Screw it. Anyway, Happy New Year's.